Hey everybody, welcome into Seydel Overtones. I'm PT Gazell. I'm pretty excited because tonight I've got one of my good friends and world-class harmonica player and guitar player joining me, and he's so involved in the music scene in Nashville, it's actually laughable because it's hard to even get Pat to find time to be on this program with me. So welcome in Pat Bergeson, ladies and gentlemen. Hey Pat, how you doing?
Great, PT. Great to see you, man. Thanks for having me here.
Oh man, my pleasure. You just got back last night, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you were up in Pennsylvania?
I was up at the Peach Music Festival up in near Scranton, Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, a big jam band hippie festival.
Outstanding, man. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about, you being on, and I was trying to think of some of the things I've meant to ask you since I've known you. And so, hopefully you'll bear with me and we'll do some of this. You started playing guitar before you played harmonica, right?
Yeah, I actually started on drums when I was a kid. Played drums for years, and then I didn't get into guitar till I got serious about it about freshman in high school. And then I was playing drums and guitar at the same time for a while. And
you were not living here at the time when you did that. So what was the motivation? Were you out in New York at that time when you started to play?
Yeah, I was
again?
living in New York. Yes, I was in New York area living, and the motivation was I'd heard Randy Marsh, fantastic jazz drummer and harmonica player who lives up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, great musician. Then I heard Randy on a gig one night play the diatonic harmonica, and he played Red Top, and he just slayed it. And I thought, that is the coolest thing I ever heard. I want to learn how to do that. He wasn't overblowing, but he was, using the bends and just playing the crap out of it, just playing some great lines and stuff, and he had a great tone. And came to my house, and he gave me a harmonica, and that's where it all started. And I put it in my car and started driving around all over New York City. Every time I got in my car, it was a 2-hour drive, so I would just play harmonica, and that kept me from yelling at people when they were cutting me off in the middle of the highway. And it was my therapy. I kid you not.
Nice. One of the things that interests me about what you do, being a harmonica player, do you find two things? Do you find that you get more calls for guitar or more calls because you're a guitar player and you're a harmonica player?
It's becoming more and more that I'm doing more just harmonica. But there for a long time there, it was just, I'd be on a gig playing the guitar and pull out the harmonica and blow a solo on something, So it's becoming more and more that way.
Do I have this right in that Chet Atkins was instrumental in bringing you to Nashville? Is that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I started working with him when I was living in Brooklyn, New York there for a little spell. I started working with Chet for about a year during that time, and then he had hinted that I ought to move to Nashville, several times, and eventually I did, after about a year's time. And I'm really glad I did. He really rescued me in that period of my life. I was kind of like, well, what am I going to do now? And he was a great guy, just the best guy in the world, and I'm so grateful to him for that.
Well, and I know you did a long stint as a regular member of Susie Bogus's band as well, who's one of my all-time favorite female singers, regardless of genre. She was a Chet protege too. Wasn't he instrumental in bringing her to town?
Yeah, Chet was totally a big catalyst in her career, for sure.
Here's something else I was thinking about, Pat, and I think I already know the answer, but I want to hear it from the other side, meaning you. At least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 people that have heard my new CD, the one that you're playing guitar on, their remarks are 3 things. First of all, it's incredibly tasty guitar, number 1. Number 2, you never got in the way of what I was playing one time out of 10 songs and being on 10 songs. And number 3, you found all the correct things to play in those small areas that, I needed you to be in. And I don't think it has anything to do with you being a harmonica player. I think it has more to do with you having really refined your chops as a session musician. Am I right or wrong about that?
I think you are right, because, I remember there was, a long time ago, many years ago, when I think it dawned on me, just listening to players, and especially when I first started doing sessions in Nashville, I would hear guys play, and the guys that I admired most were guys who could do that, that would just lay down a track the first time and you would hear it back and it just blended so well. I don't want to stick out in the track. I want to blend with the other musicians. I mean, I really do. I'm very conscious of that, of blending with the other players and, wanting to make them sound good, especially if I'm a sideman on the record. It's about them, the record's about PT. PT needs to be, and so I really am conscious of doing that when I play.
I think I read something somewhere one time where Grady Martin, and for those of you that don't know, Grady is one of the all-time best ever session players here in Nashville, played all the stuff on the classic tune El Paso, which is 6 minutes long, the full version. I don't think he ever repeated a lick once on the track. But I think I read somewhere one time where he said, if you can't understand every single word that the singer says and stay out of the way and still play something tastefully, then you're not doing your job correctly. So,
right. Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of years too. It really does, because when I first started doing sessions in Nashville, I was very green, and it took me a long time. I listened to things from back then, and it took a while before I really, and I feel like I'm better at it now than I've ever been. And, keeping things simple. And even great jazz players, it's the same thing. Even if it's something more complex, the guys who are really, really great at it, they don't step on each other either. They know their role within the song. Are they playing the rhythm part? Are they playing the melody? Are they the soloist? And if you're not, stay out of the way.
Yeah. So how do you go? Let's switch to harmonica for a minute, and there's a couple things I want to ask you about. Number one is, I know you fell in love with Seydel instruments. Which model are you currently playing? Are you playing the silver or the noble?
I play the silver. Yeah, I've gone back and forth with different versions of it. I've been playing the silver. I bought some nobles, and I like those too. They're a little heavier, but they do have a really interesting sound, especially if I get one that's set up. If I set it up really good, it really sounds great. But I'm using the covers from the blues.
So you basically do the same thing I do. I'm using those full covers, and I use the silver.
I really like them. I like the silver and the nobles the best, but there's probably the silver first. They're just great harps. I just really like the stainless steel reeds. I've got a C harp that I've been playing in my car for at least a year. And it's still, all the octaves are still blowing in tune. I'm just like,
you know what? I could take
praise the Lord.
I could take that comment from you, and I should string it together. I've done about 6 or 7 of these episodes, and you're about the 4th guy that said, I don't know, I've got this one C harp that I can't break, and it just won't.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, not just the C harp, several of them. That's important to me. The most important thing to me is, does it stay in tune? And how long will it stay in tune, and what's the tone like?
What's your thought process about what position I'm going to play this in? do you listen to the tune first and then instantly know that my first inclination ought to be first position here to try and do this, or what do you do?
If it's a jazz tune, if it's, some kind of a jazz tune, and the bridge goes to the 3 flat, if you're in C and the bridge, like Night and Day or something, the bridge goes up to E flat and you're in C, a C harp would work, but there might be another option, like maybe, what would that be? An low F.
Okay.
Would work, So you just kind of try to think about what key, if it's an easy standard where it doesn't, modulate out of the key, like, a tune like All of Me, or a tune where it goes to the 6 minor, goes to the 2 minor, the 3 minor, or whatever, then you could play it in cross harp, or you could play it in, I don't know my names of positions, PT. You would think I would know this.
Like if the song was in C, do you find yourself a lot of times trying to play it in first position, C? You try to play it
I play in first position a lot. I play in first position a lot, and I'll use cross harp, and then I'll play in the key of F on a C harp, whatever. What position is that?
Which is 12th.
12th position, just the ones that lie.
Like, for instance, if I said All of Me, can you play a little bit of that? I mean, where do you...
I would definitely pick that first of all on, that's an A harp, by the way.
Yeah. That's outstanding, man. That's just fun to listen to. So you're playing it in first there or second?
That was first position.
Yeah, first position.
Yeah,
that's
that
what
was just
I thought.
First position.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're one of the... I love to hear you play in first position. I really do. I mean, almost more than I like to hear you play in second. Because your mastery of first position is just astounding to me.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
Remind me, and I apologize, but remind me the name of the CD, your solo CD you put out a couple years ago. It has something to do with hippie dance.
Yeah, it's called Hippie Dance. It's like, you can find it on cdbaby.com.
Okay.
And, so I put it out in 2011, I believe. Yeah, I'm definitely due to make another record. I've got several ideas for a harmonica record. What I need to do is just go in and make one like you did, just get a couple days in the studio, and knock it out. So that's probably what I'll do. But
do you have other stuff, or is that the only solo CD you've ever done?
I did another record it's on Green Hill Records. It's called Pat Bergeson, a tribute to it's called Country Gentleman, a tribute to Chet Atkins.
Ah.
And that's me doing Chet Atkins songs in his style. My version of his thing. I played a little harp on that record.
Doing a la Chet? I mean, it's
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've got Tommy Emmanuel playing on it, and Richard Smith, and and Paul Yandell, Chet,
man,
right-hand man who played with him for many years, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the duo that you and Annie do.
Yeah, Annie and I, my wife Annie Selleck and I, we've started getting really excited about it. We've been doing it for a long time. It's really fun. I play guitar and harmonica, and Annie plays percussion and guitar and sings, and we kind of mix it up with different things. We're still just developing the act, but we're going over really big and having fun with it.
Well, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Annie, you should check it out. Just Google Annie Selick. She's got her own webpage as well, annieselick.com, if I remember right. I think that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, and she's got a lot of stuff up on YouTube as well. Check that out because you get to hear Pat in there as well. And well, man, it's been great visiting with you, and thanks so much for taking time out to come over. I know everybody's really happy that you did. And check out his music, folks. Check out his duo with Annie Selick, and safe travels, brother.
Thanks a lot, PT.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
See you later.